What's up guys, Rich here with Aquadive Poseidon GMT. And it's in 43 millimeters, 50 lug to lug, and it's 12.5 millimeters tall. So I will say that for a 43 millimeter case, this is definitely on a compact size. So for those of us who have smaller wrists, myself included, we can rejoice knowing that even though we might be a little hesitant on a 43 millimeter case, this is definitely wearable. And that's simply because of the curved case. Before I start talking about the watch itself, I want to talk about the Poseidon branding, because this is a collaboration between Poseidon, a Swedish dive equipment and dive accessory companies, and Aquadive. And if we think we've seen that Poseidon logo there on Doxa watches, well, that's because we have, and that's because there is a lineage between Doxa and Aquadive watches. So yes, we have seen that logo on Doxa. A little history with Poseidon. Like I said, Poseidon is a Swedish company, and it was started in 1958 by Ingvar Elfström. The Poseidon made the first rebreather system for recreational divers. Basically, the system takes our exhaled air, purifies it, and makes it reusable to use. And that's just one major accomplishment to Poseidon's claim of fame. And Poseidon is just one of the most respected dive equipment and dive accessories manufacturers there is. So they have that great reputation. And so it is a big deal when we see their logo on a collaboration with a dive watch. It just lends itself a lot of credibility. But and I like that Poseidon logo a lot. It is a little slightly raised, so I find myself staring at that a lot. But I can also understand if maybe you don't like to have a collaboration logo on there. Well, you can get this exact same look on the dial that they call yellow. It's also available in orange, turquoise, white, and bronze. I like this look a lot because, again, it lends itself to a nice credibility, but it's just a really cool look. So before I start talking about the watch itself, this right here is the presentation and the accessories that are included with our Poseidon GMT. Here is a patch that comes with, a pretty cool patch. And if we're denim heads and we like to customize our jeans, I could see putting this on a jean somewhere. And it's just something that I probably would do, rather on the back pocket or somewhere on the thigh of the jean. Just a nice option for us. So this is powered by the ETA 2893 because it is a GMT, and we can see the GMT yellow hand there. This is just one of the nicest handsets we've seen. You can see there, it did a really nice job with those hands, really nicely polished. But this is also regulated to 5 positions, meaning the movement. And this is the certificate that it accompanies our watch. We can see the specs right there. And other than that, crown left and crown down, basically the numbers fall within COSC standards, which is -4 seconds to +6 seconds a day. So I do appreciate that Aquadive went that extra mile to regulate the movement rather than just using that movement out of the box. This is the extra Isoframe strap that comes with it. So here it is in black, and then I could see myself using this yellow in the summertime. But for right now, I think the black serves me better right now. But come the summer, I think the yellow is going to get a really nice use out of it. This is also the presentation, the newer presentation that comes with it. I believe the previous presentation was a wood box, but now they use this aluminum tube, and I think it works really nicely. Just a really nice overall presentation that Aquadive is giving us. The finishing on this case is really well done. I think it's coming across here. Just smooth, even, really well done. Real nice mirrored finishing there along the side of the case. Just really well done. And that's because this is CNC machined out of a single block of German 316L steel. And by the way, what does that L stand for? Because we hear it all the time, right? 904L, 304L, 316L. Well, the L basically stands for low carbon, so it's not going to corrode or rust very easily. The 316L is the most popular form of steel for the higher end watches. So if we didn't know what that L stands for or stood for, well, now we know. So they just did a really nice job with this. It's just nice knowing that this came from a single block of steel. None of this is pieced together, just really nicely done. And that finishing also lends itself to the teeth of the bezel. It's something that we don't normally talk about, but it's worth noting. But before I explain why I'm noting that, I want to get into the turn action of the bezel because it is a good one. And the ceramic, it is a ceramic ring. So here we go. just really crisp and really satisfying. Really, really nice job with no back play. The reason I started pointing out the finishing on the teeth is, as you can see here, as a desk diver, which is what I am, it was a non-issue. But if we're going to take this into the water, whether into the swimming pool or a little light swimming, which we really wouldn't be using the bezel here, I could see our wet hands being a little bit of an issue because it's going to be quite slippery. But if we're going to use this for what it's intended to, which is serious diving, we're going to wear gloves, and that should be a non-issue because we won't be having wet fingers, so the turn action will be not a problem for using gloves. Just something worth noting. As a desk diver, I like that the finishing extends to the teeth, really polished, really that mirror finishing on the teeth there. But again, like I said, just worth noting. This is, as I said, machined in Germany, but it's assembled in Switzerland. It also has a made in Germany designation on the dials. But I also believe that the earlier Aquadive watches were actually Swiss made. They are now based in Austria, Germany. So that would explain why they wanted to have the made in Germany label on there. So Aquadive was just ahead of their time. They started in the 1960s at the height of when dive watches really became popular for recreational use. And we started to see that Seiko really emerged with their dive watches, and Aquadive was right there as well. In fact, they were so ahead of their time that some of their earlier models could be used today. That's just how ahead of the time Aquadive was at the time. But due to the quartz crisis of the 1970s, they were forced to close their doors like so many other watch companies. But fast forward to 2011, when Rick Marei and the Synchron Group resurrected the Aquadive brand. And I'm really glad he did, because they did a great job at being faithful to the original designs of Aquadive watches. And this case, we've seen this case with diver watches before, right? It's not the first time we're seeing it, but Aquadive was one of the first dive watches to use this type of case. And so, you know, it lends itself to a lot of authenticity and history behind the watches. The Synchron Group is also part of the same ownership as the Isoframe Strap. So we are getting a really nice bundle here from a really historical brand. The dial does not have applied markers, as we can see. It's not a big deal. For me, I like this. In fact, most of the Panerais have sandwich dials. But there are some dials that use applied markers just to give it a sort of a premium look. To me, non-issue. I like the way that this came out. But the reason I'm pointing that out, or worth noting, is because Aquadive does have a blue model with applied markers. And I think that's the only model that they have in this series with applied markers. If you like that matching date window to match the dial, then this is going to be for you. I know that's a preference. A lot of times the date windows are white. Some people prefer to match the dial. So this is going to be for those who prefer that. Just an overall really impressive looking case here. Really well done. So that is one of their claim to fame with Aquadive, meaning that they have that history on their side and making some great watches back in the time that didn't get a chance to fully enjoy the popularity of dive watches. The other claim to fame for Aquadive is their water resistance. So wait for it. It is water resistant to a monstrous 1,000 meters. And, you know, that is just beyond excessive because the human body cannot survive that kind of depth. But it is nice knowing that this watch can survive something that the human body cannot. And that's because they use gaskets inside the crown and in the case back without a helium escape valve. They just do a really great job with this. And by the way, I read somewhere that the average dive depth for scuba divers is between 100 to 300 feet. So 1,000 meters is just outrageous. But for a desk diver, knowing that it just can't survive where the human body cannot, I appreciate that. I like knowing that a lot has gone into this beyond what it needs to, because that is some serious water resistance. So this case and everything about this watch is just well put together inside and out. It has that premium feel in the hand. It just has a premium look to it. Just everything about this watch is just quality. This is a great watch with jeans and a tee, or even as far as an Oxford shirt. So this is an all-purpose, you could call it a tool watch, diver's watch for everyday wear. So if we're looking for that kind of watch with great history, real authentic history from the 1960s, that by a company that knows what they're doing, that has really the endorsement of Poseidon, then we know what we're getting in this watch. And I think this is a watch that is definitely worth our consideration. I'm not sure if I mentioned that yet, but the Poseidon is limited edition to 300 pieces. So it is just a really great watch. And I want to talk about this this more on the Isoframe Strap because I didn't give it as much attention as I wanted. You can just see how much quality this strap is. Not all rubber is created equally. This is soft without being artificially soft right out of the box. But I'm really trying to point out here, I think we're getting a good look here. Regardless of how much I twist this watch, there is just no hints of the rubber cracking, which a lot of cases they will. You can see there is just no hints of that. Just very smooth, just really, really well done. So Isoframe just, is one of the other straps for dive watches. We are just getting a lot of quality, a lot of bundle here with a collaboration with Poseidon and with the Isoframe straps. All that with the Aquadive just makes it a really attractive package. And the retail price of the Poseidon is roughly $1,900. And for that, we are getting a watch made beautifully inside and out with that quality 2893 at a movement that is regulated to 5 positions. Nothing about this watch is on the skimpy side. Just they put a lot of love and attention into this case. So if all of that is important to us and we want that everyday tool watch, dive watch with authentic history, then I think Aquadive's Poseidon is definitely worth a close look. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you the next time.